Welcome back to the preview show. We're back. Hi, I'm Casey Campbell. You already know who I am, though. And you probably know who that guy is, too. It's Nathan Solomon, the managing editor of the Podium Finish. Hello, hello. We are back. Yeah, we were back 2 weeks ago. You got a little taste, but we are officially back now. Hi.
Hi, I'm back.
Yes. How was the Super Bowl, buddy?
It was good. I wish we could have stayed for the game, but we had a good week on Radio Row. Interviewed Kyle Larson, so that was fun. So a little NASCAR connection out there, but fun week out in Arizona.
Of course, he was out there for the St. Bonaventure Student Radio Station, 88.3 WSBU, out in St. Bonaventure. Um, so yeah, we are back. We have ARCA Trucks, Xfinity, and of course the Daytona 500 to get ready for. Of course, we got the duels tonight. The trucks practice time of recording. They'll be in just a few minutes. The ARCA cars are on the track right now. Overall, just how excited are you for this weekend? We're because we back.
I'm very excited because of the next. Well, I and maybe my math might be wrong, but I think it's 37 of the next 38 weeks. We've got NASCAR races, so that's fun, and the racing's fun. I'm very looking forward to it.
Bro, I got 38 straight weeks for me because, of course, I'm working the off week because the one race during all three up for the off week, of course, ARCA's at Berlin. So
There
uh,
you go.
38 weeks for me. So I'm excited. Okay, so let's kind of talk about this for a second. Overall, let's get into the duels a little bit. It's the second time that these cars will be on track. They made one lap already. Um, and they'll make lap two in first race of the duels. So what do you expect tonight from both races?
Well, okay, to be politically correct, but 10 cars did get to take a second lap, of course, with the 2 rounds of qualifying. But I don't know what to expect, really. Like, this is the first time we've gone right into the duels without a practice session. I mean, nonetheless, qualifying without a practice session at Daytona. So I really don't know. I mean, I think, at least for the open cars, there's certainly questions about Connor Daly, certainly questions about Chandler Smith because they had those mechanical issues in practice. They think it appears both cars should be ready to go for the duels, but they're still an unknown there. Obviously, they'll be starting from the rear, so they've got their work cut out for them. And when you look at Jimmy Johnson, Travis Pastrana, they're locked in, so they've got nothing to worry about. So it's really the first two cars, Daly and Smith, racing against Zane Smith and Austin Hill. So obviously, we know how great of a restrictor plate racer Austin Hill is, though it's a lot different in the next gen car. But I think Austin Hill's in a really good position to transfer in. I think Zane Smith is in a really good position to transfer in. I think it's certainly possible where Chandler Smith and Connor Daly could get in, but I think because those other two are just such great restrictor plate racers, I think it's going to be really difficult for the former two to put themselves in a position to get in. They're going to have really strong runs, and they're going to have to be aggressive really all race long. Excuse me. And those races, they're not long races either. They're 60 laps, typically just one pit stop. So they're going to have to race smart, but they're going to have to be aggressive too.
It's going to be an interesting one, of course. 7 p.m. On tonight on FS1. So stay tuned for that. Of course, of course, also the Xfinity series and the Truck series are back, and of course they have all their own storylines. And of course, if you want to learn more about those, we did all those preview shows back in January. In fact, I think Nathan was on both the Xfinity and the Truck ones. So go watch those to kind of learn about that. But what are we expecting from those two races? The trucks are on the track tonight for their only practice session before qualifying. The Xfinity cars will be on the track tomorrow. What are we going to expect?
I think we're going to expect fun seasons for both. I mean, I think good races in particular. I mean, the truck and Xfinity packages at super speedways always seem to be a lot of fun. So definitely should be a lot of fun to watch. I think for both series, there's more competitive cars than there's ever been. Well, really all three, including the Cup series. But I mean, if it feels like we're at the point now where there's almost 15 to 20 different Xfinity cars that could win. Probably at least 15, maybe probably close to 20 trucks that could win too. I mean, a lot of teams are expanding. I mean, we're going to see three GMS trucks, five ThorSport trucks for part of the season, at least four at every race. KBM trucks, the Hattori truck. I know I'm missing some too, but again, both series just have a lot of really, really good cars and some really, really talented drivers. So I think that it'll be fun. I mean, the qualifying sessions are going to be entertaining. They're the most important qualifying sessions of the year for mainly back half teams to make sure that they're not in position to miss races because looking at the size of some of these fields, I mean we have 44 Xfinity entries I don't have the truck entry list in front of me, but I know we're around the same for there too. So going to be really tough to get. I'm sorry.
Me too.
42. So it's gonna be hard to make those races. I mean, there's be 6 cars going home in each of those races. So you got to make the show. You got to have a good qualifying run to start things off, and then that'll put some of these back half teams in a good position when they go out to Fontana here next week and going forward in terms of a bit of a safety net if they don't have a good qualifying run. So a lot on the line with both series, not just in the race but in qualifying as well.
Yeah, so of course, trucks is based on your practice speed. So this practice is pretty important for qualifying tomorrow because it's based on practice speeds and it will determine if trucks practice gets rained out tomorrow. Obviously, we'll go through the list. Just obviously follow a bunch of people on Twitter. They'll tell you who's going home. For Xfinity, it's based on owners' points from last year, and obviously, if you pay attention to all the transfers and owner points there, we'll obviously keep you updated on those what that's going to look like for today. Of course, the duels tonight will settle the Daytona 500 field on Thursday. Also, ARCA qualifying will be on Friday, so that will settle that. And of course, the races, of course, trucks on Friday, ARCA and Xfinity on Saturday, and then of course the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Let's talk about those contract extensions, and this gets to our next segment. It's everyone's favorite segment of the show. It's Gas and Go. If you've seen this, of course, when we did this with Jonathan, of course we know this. But okay, so let's start with this. Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, and Alex Bowman all announced contract extensions. Of course, Chastain was the most recent one to just a few minutes ago at Daytona. It was just announced that he will sign a multi-year deal with Trackhouse, along with Daniel Suarez, who was announced yesterday, and of course Alex Bowman was announced yesterday. Now that those three are kind of settled and know what they're going to be doing for the next few years, obviously, what's still left to hold there, Nathan?
Yeah, and it really seems like all three of those drivers, they're pretty big deals too. I know they didn't exactly disclose for Chastain's, but I saw on Twitter Ty Norris said that he'll be with them until his beard starts getting gray. So that's a pretty good sign there for Chastain. Bowman signed through 2028, which I'm a little bit surprised they extended him that far out. I figured they'd maybe give him one more year before deciding to go onto a big long-term deal. But I know Hendrick likes consistency in their lineup. Obviously, he had a good year in 2021. I think that with Blake Harris now as his crew chief, I think he can really elevate that program to even further heights, just like he elevated that 34 team last year. So I think Bowman could have a really good year and prove that he's worth a big extension like he just got. And then, of course, Daniel Suarez, I think still just a lot of raw talent there. I mean, I know we've talked about him for such a long time, but he's still developing. He still needs a lot of time compared to some of these Cup Series guys. He had some tough situations that he went into when coming up through the ranks, probably got rushed a little more than he needed to, and that kind of put him a little bit behind when it came to the Cup levels. So I think these last couple of years we saw him finally start to get his footing and grow and grow. Last year, of course, he got that first victory. Had some of his best runs in his career. I think that we just see that grow even more here in 2023 and beyond. So I think Suarez will just get better with time.
Yeah. I just want to make sure Bowman's contract is actually through 2026. That is Ally's contract that's actually through 2028. Of course, Ally Financial signed the deal through that. But I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, let's go on. Driver under the most pressure for the Cup Series this year.
Ooh, under the most pressure. I Ryan Preece definitely comes to mind here. I mean, I think some people didn't know what to think that when they put Preece in the 41, really right after the 2022 season ended. people think that he was given an opportunity and did not capitalize it at JTG Doherty. So I think he's under the most pressure this year to prove that he belongs in a high level car. If he struggles this year, I don't know if he'll necessarily be in the car next year. I think this year he's really fighting for his life. So I'm gonna say Ryan Preece, and there's certainly other guys too, but I think that's the first name that really comes to mind.
Okay, so we got Cup. Let's now do Xfinity. Driver under the most pressure for to perform in Xfinity this year.
Hmm. Again, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can go with this. I think, um, a name that comes to mind. Someone like Sam Mayer, a young talent, or Sheldon Creed, a young talent there that just hasn't quite broken through with a victory yet. But then you also look at a couple guys that are a few years older. How about a guy like John Hunter Nemechek? He's back in the Xfinity Series full time. Obviously, after 2020, stepped back to the Truck Series, did 2 years with KBM. Now just working his way back up through. And I think that if he struggles this year, I don't know if he'll necessarily get that opportunity to go back to Cup Series on a full time basis. So I think he has to have a really good year to prove to everybody that, hey, I can still do this. I'm still really talented. I deserve a full time Cup Series ride, and not just a full time ride, but in really good equipment as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely should be very interesting to see what Sheldon Creed can do, and I'm always interested to see what those junior motorsports cars can do. Sam Mayer could have an interesting season. Of course, he and Marty Lindley are back together again, and of course they won some championships over in what is now known as the ARCA Menard Series East. So that should be fun to watch. Okay, we did Cup, we did Xfinity. Now let's do trucks. Who's under the most pressure to have a big season over there?
Yeah, I'm going to give you two guys here, and they're in the same organization. It's Chase Purdy and Jack Wood. Those guys have had opportunities in the past, have not really been able to capitalize on it. They've struggled at times, struggled to take care of their stuff. A new, kind of a new team. I mean, it's Kyle Busch Motorsports still, but a new manufacturer, so there's certainly going to be some growing pains there. But since they've had some opportunities, these last couple of years and have not really been able to take advantage of it, we know the funding's there. They just have to put the results there too. So it's an important year for both of them to maybe not necessarily get to victory lane, but have more consistent runs and just be able to take care of their stuff and show some progress.
Okay, two more. Um, Biggest storyline that you think in the NASCAR season? This could be from Cup, Xfinity, or Trucks, or it could be the organization as a whole. What are you most looking out for?
Hmm. Well, again, there's so many storylines, but I think one of the most notable ones, I mean, in the Cup Series, Kevin Harvick's final season, that'll certainly be fun to watch. The Zero F's Given Tour, it looks like it might be. So I know Kevin Harvick wants to go out on a strong note and will do anything he can to get back into victory lane as many times as possible here in his final season. So that's definitely one of them. And I'll give you another one, too, that honestly, I don't think many people have talked about a whole lot except for a few weeks ago when they tested, but it's the Xfinity Series, rule package change. The package that we've had the last 4 or 5 years has been so terrific. Now that they've altered it, what will it be like? Will it still be a super racy, super fun package? The package that everybody argues is maybe the best of all three touring series, or is it going to take a step backwards? I think that's something to really keep an eye out on. Really, these first 6 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see there from drivers I've talked to. It seems like they didn't really notice anything, but then again, it was only a test, so that's up there. And I've heard it possibly could be harder to pass too. So we'll have to see how that goes. All right. Well, if you like that segment, this is the most favorite segment of the show. It is time for the picks. You gonna do a little bit better this year?
I hope so, man. I started really good in the first half of the year, with the six of us or five of us or seven of us or whatever it was, but I faded late.
Yeah, it's by the way, congrats to Mitchell Brewer. He was, of course, the defending champion from last year. Let's go with we don't pick Arca, but we're gonna do it anyway. Who you got?
Oh man, I need to see the entry list here.
Okay.
I'm pulling it up right now. I was not prepared for this.
Um, look, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, of course, we got the four Venturini cars, of course, two Rev cars, Joe Gibbs Racing. Of course, we'll have Connor Mozak in there. Yeah, you might go with Frankie Muniz too. I don't know. So
Yeah, hey, he'll certainly be a lot someone to look out for. I'll go with Jesse Love though to win the ARC race.
I'm going to agree with you there. I think this will be. I think Venerini has won like 4 or 5 in a row at Daytona, and the 20 cars won the last two, of course, with Corey Heim. I think that 20 car is going to win again. Give me Jesse Love. Yes, it's first. Yes, it's his first time at Daytona, but it'll work out. It's worked out before. All right, let's go to trucks. The next Era Energy 250 for the Truck Series at Daytona, of course, on Friday night. Who you got, bud?
I am going with Zane Smith to win the truck race. He won it last year. Obviously, won the championship. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to go on any sort of championship hangover. So I think he's going to start out really strong again here in 2023. And he's doing some Cup races this year. I think he's going to prove that he's starting to get pretty close to being a full-time Cup Series driver. So we'll go to Zane Smith to open up the season with a win.
Okay, that's a solid pick. Of course, last year's he'll be trying to defend his win there. Of course, he won there, and of course that led him to the championship in 2022. But it'll be the thing is, it's you got to go bold at Daytona, and I'm gonna go with Raja Karuth to get the win at Daytona. Look, this is a driver, and I know both of us have had a chance to talk with him before the season. I think he's someone that is going to really surprise some people this year. I'm going to go with that 24 truck this year to get it done. All right. Let's go to Xfinity. The Beef, it's What's for Dinner 300. Yes, that's actually what the title of the race actually is. I've heard from people it's the greatest name ever, or I absolutely hate that name. But overall, you can't please everybody. I like it, but that's all right. Who you got, bud?
I am going with Josh Berry. I think people count him out because he's obviously the short track guy. He doesn't have as much experience on tracks really bigger than a mile, but he's shown he can win on them. He's grown so much in these last 2 years on intermediates and in super speedway tracks, and he always seems to be in the mix for wins just about everywhere. So Barry, of course, made the championship for last year. I think there's a good chance he can be back there again this year, and he's going to start off that campaign with a win at Daytona Saturday.
Yeah, of course, 3 junior motorsports drivers made the championship and didn't end up winning. Of course, Ty Gibbs ended up winning the championship that year. Of course, he's not in Xfinity this year. Of course, he's in the Cup Series. But I'm going to go with the junior motorsports driver that didn't make the championship for last year. Yes, I am going with Sam Mayer. That combination of him and Marty Lindley are going to get it done at Daytona and start off 2023 with a win. That is going to be big. The one car is going to finish P1 at Daytona. That sounds good, doesn't it? That sounds really good. All right, now the biggest one of them all, the Daytona 500, the 65th running of the Daytona 500. And obviously, these picks are obviously before the duels. But who you got?
I am going with Mr. Ryan Blaney
Okay.
because he didn't win last year, and he's such a good super speedway racer. He's always in the mix to win that race. He's always in the mix to win every super speedway race. I think that with a couple of just near misses or close calls to winning that race, I think it's the time that he breaks through and gets a victory.
Well, I'm going to go with someone that just had an announcement just a few minutes ago at time of recording. We're going to smash some melons at the end of the Daytona 500 because Ross Chastain's going to get it done at there. Of course, the car number 1 gets it done again. I'm picking same car numbers, but why not? The one car is going to get it done at the Daytona 500. The Hail Melon Man will smash another melon in Daytona. Of course, it's his home race in Florida. He's won there before, and boy, how big would that be if he goes and gets it done at Daytona? So that should be fun. Okay, we got all 4 races this weekend. It's gonna be a jam-packed show throughout the days. Of course, we got the duels tonight. And of course, truck practice coming up. Of course, we got the Xfinity cars and a bunch of cup practices as well on Friday. Of course, the truck race on Friday, the ARCA race and the Xfinity race on Saturday, and the Daytona 500 on Sunday. For Nathan Solomon, I'm Casey Campbell. We'll catch you next week as we preview Auto Club.